Welcome back, everyone, to week 2 of the Rekt League. Thank you for joining us in our second match of the day. Team Blue Sentinels versus Team Scuttle Crab. My name is Ratty Z, the top lane for Team Mountain Drake, and I'm joined by my analytical mastermind and mid lane monster teammate, D-Fox.
Hey, what's up?
So to fill in any new viewers, we play a European-style tournament format, which is considered a best of 2, tallying up all victories and defeats at the end of the regular season to determine playoff seeding. But getting into the match tonight, Blue Sentinels had a good start last week with a split 1-1 series versus Team Air Drake, while Team Scuttle Crab put the beating on Team Mountain with a 2-0 sweep. So D-Fox, what do you think on tonight's matchup, and more specifically, which matchup are you most looking forward to?
I'm definitely looking forward to the bot lane matchup. As we learned last week, this Scuttle team has an incredibly strong bot lane, and it showed in their play last week. On the other hand, looking over some of the stats from last week, there is a huge differential in stats like KDA, team damage percentage, kill participation between these two bot lanes. So of course, it's only 1 week worth of stats, so it's not really going to be a definitive or anything, but that's the matchup I think that'll be incredibly make or break for this Sentinels team.
I think so,
and
and they're going
to do well in that lane.
Agreed, and they're about to jump into the draft. So here we go. We're going to get started to watch Team Scuttle Crab versus Team Sentinels.
Trundle definitely a good ban, especially against IN Duel, because he plays it a lot and it's just really strong right now.
Agreed. You see the Nocturne ban too, taking away some of Hot Soup's explosiveness from the jungle.
Yep, I like the Ahri ban definitely against Ether Fox. He doesn't have a huge champion pool, but I wouldn't give him Ahri if you can help it, because he will always play well on that champ.
Agreed. He's very good at getting away, keeping himself safe, farming well. Very consistent. We have the brand ban taken away from, I'm assuming, either Hey5 or Athcore. I'm not sure which one plays it, though.
Yeah, I'm curious. That I would expect that to be a support, but it could definitely go in.
Yeah, and the Mundo. The Mundo taken away, of course.
Ban.
Of course. Skyrocket's known for his top lane Mundo. Very consistent with that. He knows how to farm. He knows how to push lanes. He knows where to be. Very good player on that champion.
Yeah, week 1, he got Mundo in both games, and the CS differential was like plus 40 or something. So pretty insane on that champ. Very comfortable, very good ban. I think it's probably a top lane Malphite, right?
I think so. I think they want to take it away.
Hot Soup's champ pool.
Shadow of Old last week absolutely dominated on Malphite. He was just in the right place at the right time. His ultimates were disgusting. It's really, really good. So we start off.
This to be a jungle Hecarim.
I think it's very possible. I know Hecarim is very popular in the jungle. I have seen some people play him in the top lane recently, but I don't know if I'd first pick him in the top lane. So we'll have to see where that goes.
Yeah, unless that's just a big comfort pick for Shadow, I would think that that's a jungler, because that's a jungler you can definitely first pick.
So an interesting series of picks, I think, for the Team Scuttle Crab, because we're looking at Thresh, we know is a playmaker for Jacef, which is pretty no-brainer. He's a very good player. He's going to be able to make things happen, engage when he needs to, disengage. He's got a lot on that. So we're looking to see what happens. Okay, this is what I was expecting. Graves for Endo in the jungle. His jungle pool isn't absolutely huge, but he's shown a lot of proficiency on Graves, especially when you take away his Trundle. So I kind of expected that to come out. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I mean, besides Graves just being really strong right now, in general, it's the fact that we've already got a Thresh locked in. It's going to work really well with that bot lane, because Graves doesn't have any CC of his own. He works really well with laners that have CC to set up ganks. So that'll be a really good setup already for bot lane ganks with the Graves.
Indeed. Well, they let the Kaisa go through, which right now that champion is very strong from the bottom lane marksman location. It's going to be very difficult for Team Scuttle Crab to have to deal with this. Ooh, and the Zyra as well. I'm assuming that's going to go bot lane. as it has
Yeah,
been.
yeah. That I've checked out Athcor's champ pool recently, and he does play a lot of Zyra support. So
Then we're going to see some explosiveness in that bottom lane. Although Kai'Sa not really known for early game destructive power, I still think Zyra is going to help out, potentially snaking in a kill or two if Darth Ted and JSF don't play carefully around it.
yeah, I do like the Zyra pick into Thresh though, because they could potentially just outrange and outpoke them with that Zyra damage with the plants, with Kai'Sa's W, I think it is, with the big damage that you get off of that with poke.
Agreed, agreed. Well, we saw Syndra picked up, which is Aether Fox's other signature champion. So that's to be expected to prevent him from getting pinched from the next phase of the banning process.
Yeah, absolutely. I would expect him to pick that if Ari gets banned, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, that he's going to be solid in that lane. You've got a Hecarim. That is a champion that you could definitely gank Syndra with. So he's not going to be completely safe. Graves is going to want to look for counter ganks there in mid.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see what they end up picking for the counter matchup for Syndra, because they are banning away the mid lane matchups right now. They're banning away Galio, they're banning away Vel'Koz for the kind of long range poke and the kind of infinite tankiness versus that lane. So they're setting up Aether Fox to at least go even, if not try to put Hey Dude 5 on something he could potentially take over in that mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely counters to Syndra. I'm not sure about Hey Dude 5's champ pool, but there are definitely a lot of champs left up. Not sure about, he must play a lot of Galio, because I don't know that I would ban Galio against Syndra personally, but they probably have a good reason for it.
I think so. It looks like they're leaving their top lane pick on Team Scuttlecrab for their last pick, which is looking like we saw that Jinx come out, and Darth Ted is very proficient on that Jinx, able to pump out a lot of damage, and his positioning is very good, especially with his support backing him up.
Okay, the Karma, that's going to be the mid lane. So that actually makes a lot of sense, because it's pretty safe against Syndra. So he's not really looking to like win the lane and take over. He's just looking to farm and be that extra support for the team later on.
Mm-hmm. So this is interesting here. Seeing the Kennen come out, which Kennen is played in two ways top lane. He is played as an AD type role. He's also played as AP more commonly. So I think, all right, so we see the Garen come out as a pretty that's a pretty fun and / obnoxious matchup for the Kennen, because Garen can't really make it to Kennen. At any point in time, he can lightning dash away, he can throw, Garen walks directly at you, so he can throw shurikens. And for those of you who don't know too much about Kennen, his mechanic is he can hit you with lightning on some of his auto attacks. On every fourth auto attack, he can hit. If you're already marked with lightning, he can hit you again with his W, and he can also throw out a shuriken that's lightning enchanted. And if you get hit with 3 of those in a short period of time before they fall off, you get stunned. Garen is not great at dodging. He does run directly at you generally, so that's a pretty Kennen focused matchup. But Kennen can't really kill Garen until 6, and if he positions well, I don't think it's going to be too much.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting matchup to watch, because I think for the mid and bot lanes, Sentinels have picked really safe lanes in general. Like, they're not looking to win these lanes and snowball the game. They're just looking to farm up and get to the team fight mid game. The top lane will actually be very much about who outplays who. So like you were saying, yeah, the Kennen can pretty much free farm against the Garen just because of the range difference, but Kennen also doesn't really have any kill pressure on Garen. Especially they both took teleport, so there's no summoners there that's going to give him any kill pressure like an ignite. That's going to be a really interesting lane to see how they play that, because Garen should be able to farm fairly safely as long as he's not getting like eating too many shurikens. But Kennen will be able to set up ganks pretty easily. That said, if Kennen overcommits using his E at a bad time and is up too far in the lane, they can easily turn that around and kill him because he is squishy. So that lane will be like a kind of make or break, like which way is the game going to go into the mid game with the team fights, depending on how that lane is going.
What do we think about the bot lane matchup here?
I think Sentinels was pretty smart to pick a lane that's relatively safe where they could farm and not have to worry too much about just straight up dying. That said, this Darth Ted and Jacef lane uh, will find ways to kill you no matter how safe you play. So, yeah, I think that Sentinels is looking to just farm in this lane, and they picked a good, couple champs to do that with. But that's the lane where I would look to set something up with. You land a good hook, and Graves is there, and you could easily snowball that lane. So we'll see how they end up playing it out. But I like their picks.
I
And of
think so too.
course, with the Jinx on their team, the Scuttle Crab team is looking to just farm up and like take over the late game. Mid to late game, Jinx becomes a monster. Doesn't matter if they get kills in the lane. Um, couple hooks, good hooks, a couple flays in the right moments in the right team fights, and then Jinx will just wipe you.
Agreed. I mean, that's one thing that Darth Ted knows how to do very well. He does clean up those fights tremendously, having a high KDA, having a lot of kill participation and damage from his previous two games. I'll be very
Yeah,
interested to see how Hecarim also changes our matchup as well, as we do have Jinx. Jinx and Thresh aren't particularly super mobile. Thresh can help out in those sort of gank situations, but I have a feeling J-Sep's going to be playing up a little more than he's going to be playing back. So we'll have to see where that goes. What do you think?
yeah. I mean, Jinx and Thresh as a duo are pretty good at disengaging. So I don't know. I mean, Hecarim's gonna have to have some really good pathing to get some good ganks off in the bot lane. It's doable, but there's with that fillet, that's just like really solid disengage on a Hecarim. That said, I'll be interested to see how Ether Fox adapts in the mid lane against the Hecarim jungle because as someone who has a similar champion pool with the immobile mages in mid, I can tell you Hecarim is really difficult to deal with because you have to ward very deep or else you don't see him in time to back off if you're like at all pushed up in lane just because his move speed is insane, especially with the ghost and the predator. So like he's gonna have to have real deep wards, and then there's a possibility that it comes from an angle that you didn't anticipate. So he's going to need to have some serious reflexes, maybe hold on to the scatter the weak until he sees Hecarim coming, or just play back in lane and farm safely, which is kind of what his style normally is. So I expect him to just try to be safe.
I see. I like that. I think it's going to be an excellent matchup. I think these teams are well positioned for fighting. I know Quaz last year got one of the Pentakill awards, for him doing the dirty work in the bottom lane. So I'm really excited to see what this is going to end up being, where the advantages are going to come into play, and which team prioritizes which portion of the map. So here we go. Week 2, match 2, Team Blue Sentinels versus Team Scuttle Crab. Loading onto the Rift.
See if they try to do any level 1 shenanigans here.
That's true, and that is a fun topic to see where exactly each team prioritizes the fight. And looking at level 1s, I mean, we have a Zyra in one lane, we have Kennen, who's actually fairly good at level 1s, depending on which skill he takes first. Karma is actually pretty okay as well. However, you're also looking at a Thresh, and Graves can do a ton of damage in the beginning of the game, just with his auto attacks. So it looks just from the pathing, it looks like Team Blue Sentinels is going to fan out in a defensive format, looking for someone to show up.
Yeah, I don't know if I would give either one of these teams a distinct level 1 advantage. I mean, Thresh is obviously a really good level 1 champion, but so is Kennen as long as he starts Cue
the Jaws
really
music.
Good level 1. So, yeah, I think this could go either way.
Let's see, did they put that? They did put the ward in the bush. So it looks like Team Scuttlecrab was going in. They took the roundabout way to go into the kind of center brush, and then just to see if anyone kind of wanted to check this, what's called the pixel brush here, and then decided, well, we'll just get wards. We'll get some information. So the main reason they put this here so they know when the jungler is going to be doing the red buff. They can get a good timing on it. That way the top laners can be safe, the mid laner can be safe. Everyone knows where the jungler is, so they're not just going to appear out of nowhere and get some kills in the early game, which is very much a reality with Graves, who can come in as early as 2 or even 3 and still put a lot of damage out to the laner.
Yeah, and that So that ward that Sentinels put in their own red buff actually did not have vision of the ward that Scuttle put down. So they don't know that that's warded. I mean, they could probably assume since they saw them invade, but yeah, if they wanted to do anything with that information, they at least know Hecarim's path, generally.
That's true. So let's see. Getting some early pushing on the side of 85 in the mid lane. Otherwise, not too much going on right now. Just this kind of like the standard trading that you normally see in average games. Bot lane doing a little bit of poking when able, and there's no CS to be gotten. It looks like the endo for the Graves on Scuttle Crab is just getting the Scuttle Crab. You know, visiting his family, saying hello. How's everything been? I'd like that gold real quick, please. We got a match to win. That's 70 gold off the bat. And like I said, here as we see here, JSF playing up. Right now they don't have any wards to put in the bottom bush, so JSF can just sit in this bush and just zone them away from experience. But thankfully, Quaz did get level 2 early, although the Zyra did not. And we're getting an early gank here from the Graves in the mid lane. He's going in, doing a little bit of damage to Hey Dude 5. It takes a tower shot for his trouble. Pushing him off and said, hey, could you stop pushing in my Syndra, please? I'd really like to get some breathing room here so I can do some invades. Hot 2-5 going for the Scuttle Crab. Smites it away, and there's going to be a little tussle between the Graves and the Hecarim going for extra damage. Endo just slides right on out with his, what do they call it? Quick draw ability. As he dashes a small distance, gets a little bit of ammunition in his gun, moves away.
I like this decision right now by Sentinels. Really smart. They saw that Graves got chunked down, low health, and so they're invading. Although I would have liked to see them actually contest that red buff since they warded it. Playing it safe at the moment.
Agreed. And I think right now it's on the bot lane side. We're looking at Darthhead and JSF getting that lead. They are a level up currently, pushing them into the tower. And they know that they can do this safely because they saw that the Hecarim was in the top side of the map. So they're able to play as aggressive as they want.
Okay, Hecarim's going in. Yep, he's gonna get a kill.
Going in. There's the flash from Endo. See if we get the...
Oh, excellent awareness by Syndra to save Graves' life right there.
Save the Graves. Well done on Aether Fox. Well done hitting his ability as well. That is a skill shot where you have to put an orb on the ground and then use geometry in order to hit your target to get a small stun.
Yeah, it's like a 2 ability skill shot. It's kind of insane. But yeah, that was perfect awareness there.
Perfect awareness, and great job for Aether Fox for doing his math homework in high school, getting that basic geometry to get this done. And so we move to the top lane right now. It looks like Garen is currently out farming the Kennen. That can definitely be the case in the early part of the game. It is a little volatile because Kennen can't really do that much damage to the Garen in the early part of the game. He just kind of pokes him a little bit, and then Garen walks away, heals up, goes and gets CS, takes a little poke, and then walks away. So there's not going to be too much going on in the early part of the game unless either person decides to get a little more aggressive, step out of the normal, and walk into a fight for almost no reason. And I don't think either of these players is going to do that.
No, yeah, at the moment the Kennen has like no real damage or kill pressure. Like he can constantly poke, but the bone plating, the grasp of the Undying, the passive from Garen, everything is just going to keep him at high health as long as he doesn't eat too many of those Qs.
And there's what you just saw, basically why the Kennen is a very safe lane. As soon as anyone shows up, his E ability allows him to use, let's go with the Lightning Rush, turns into a ball of lightning. He speeds up, gains some resistances, and it's really hard to catch him. So he has to be basically stunned if you want to try to get some kills off on Kennen. Or else otherwise he's gonna sneak away like the little beaver that he is. He's not really a beaver, everyone. He's actually a Yordle, which is a perfectly legitimate race in the world of Runeterra.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of there just farming up. I mean, that's really... If I'm Kennen in this matchup, I just want to farm as much as possible because we already know what to expect from Garen late game, but if the Kennen can get fed, then he can completely take over team fights.
So we saw an unfortunate back here in the bot lane for Quaz H and Athkor, for Quaz and Athkor. They did take a couple trades, so they had to go back. They did get a BF sword for their trouble, but they do unfortunately are going to lose about 6 CS, and they're already down they're already down 19 CS at the moment. So with that creep score being lower, they're going to be struggling a little bit to keep up in gold, as we're about a almost 500 gold lead for the Jinx currently, and that's not insubstantial. That's going to be a difficult thing to overcome, because you definitely don't want to see Jinx, strong late game Jinx, early. It's going to be gross.
Yeah, it's not even just the gold lead at this point in the game. It's the experience that they lost from not getting those minions, having to back at an awkward time. So they're going to be, like, she just caught up to Darth Ted's level, but they're going to be behind pretty much every level up point because they're not missing any of this wave.
That's true. They are not too far down at the moment, or at least Quaz is I keep calling him Quaz H. Quaz is not too far away from Darth Ted, the inexperience at the moment. They're probably about, I think, 3 minions actually away. Which is
I would
not too good.
I would expect this Jinx Thresh lane to potentially just all in them as soon as they hit 6, because they know they're going to hit 6 first. We'll see if they have the wave in a good position to do that.
So we have Shadow of Old sneaking up here in the mid lane. And if he
lands the hook. Yeah.
Oh, there's the up. There we go. Lands the hook on the bottom lane. Grabs it. The jungle is there to do extra damage. Gets tagged with the... Oh my goodness. Oof. Very close. Graves putting a lot of damages, using his ultimate, but the teleport came in from Shadow of Old, doing a lot of damage, but not quite enough to get the job done. Takes a lot of damage for his woes here, but Karma shows up, doing the return damage right now. They turn it around with the double kill. So and then the final with Death's Door kills the Kennen from the top. So it does end up being a 2-for-2 in the bot lane, with a lot of assists going over to both teams. Not really sure about that one. I think ultimately it's going to be unfortunate for the top laner, because Kennen had to teleport. He's going to lose this top wave, lose a bit of damage, and Garen is going to get that CS lead on the top, which is going to bode very poorly for the top lane matchup. He's going to have to be playing very passive on that Kennen.
Yeah, I like that decision to teleport in. I just think he was a little bit late on it. Like, at that point, it almost looked like he was just going to immediately die, but immediately popping his ult to keep himself alive.
There's a team fight going on in the mid lane here. After Team Sentinels took the Infernal Drake, Aether Fox went in for the snipe on Hecarim, and what ended up happening was he flashed in, used his ultimate for extra damage, but it didn't quite have enough to kill him. Hecarim had enough time to get his ultimate off, which allowed him to crowd control the Syndra, which was able to take extra damage from the mid laner who also showed up. There was good reaction from both teams. We had the support from Blue Sentinels come in. Zyra came in and did extra damage, rooted up the Syndra, and we got to see a counter kill. So it was just a 1-for-1 trade. Really good response time for both teams, making the score 3-3.
Yeah, it was a really good play there for Sentinels to go after the dragon immediately, and the fact that they did get that is probably going to be huge later on, because they're just going to scale harder with that extra damage. And both these teams have really ultra omega carry AD carries with the Kai'Sa and the Jinx, so like the percent damage on those is going to be huge later on.
So Shadow of Old just teasing this Garen with a little bit of damage. Currently right now, Garen does have quite a bit of extra health right now. It's going to be hard to kill. The other difficult part, what you're seeing on the screen right now, is this little symbol above Shadow of Old's head, and that means he is the villain. Garen has an ability to mark somebody who's doing well on the other team, somebody who's doing the best in the other team. But there is a fight in the bot lane here. They just went in on both sides. It looks like so far there is just straight kill on Jinx that went in. The Hecarim shows up, the mid laner shows up.
Yeah, they were anticipating that aggression from the Scuttle bot lane and countered it really nicely with the Zyra ult, the Hecarim gank, the Karma roam, and the stopwatch from Zyra keeping her alive. They didn't lose anyone for that free kill.
I have to say, though, Team Scuttle not just wasting their time, however. Endo went top and immediately grabbed Rift Herald for the trouble. So they did get a kill on Jinx, but Endo was able to grab the Rift Herald on Graves and just going to push us into a tower again. Shelly's going to get a charge up here. Moving in.
Really good heads-up play from that Graves. Noticing all the resources they committed bot lane, picking up that Herald to try to get a free turret.
Hecarim doing his best to protect the turret. Gets shielded by the Karma, does not die from the burst damage from Syndra and Graves. They do not have the items yet to fully burst down Hecarim. And which is slightly surprising since Hecarim is going for his Trinity Force first in order to get that extra damage out there for those ganks. But otherwise, just not quite there yet for the Graves and Syndra combo of burst damage. Now we see a bit of a convergence here in the bot lane. We see that the bottom lane is going back down. Quaz walks right into the hook. They have the Death Rush going, easily taken out. This might be the flash out of Athkor. This still might be a double kill. They're going in for it. Hecarim is coming as fast as he possibly can. He gets hit with the hook, and then the rocket kills him from Jinx. Double kill for Darth Ted.
Oh no. He was trying to smite the red buff away and accidentally smited the Thresh. That's unfortunate.
One of the problems of having the Stalker's Blade, which is the chilling smite, is that it allows your smite ability, which does an increased amount of damage to monsters and minions, to hit champions and also slow them for a bit. So he had an opportunity to do it, but little fat finger on that one caused a loss of a buff and a lot of experience.
That's the exact kind of play that I was expecting out of this Scuttle bot lane. They have good synergy together. They know what they want to do. And they had the vision. They had the control ward in that Tribe Rush. So they knew it was only a matter of time for they would get an opportunity like that. And Kai'Sa unfortunately made the decision to try to face check that. So that's just a free couple kills for them.
Also, I'm interested in seeing the barrier on Aether Fox here, especially versus the Karma. I didn't really think that's a necessary choice, but I'm assuming he likes to play safe. He often has this very defensive-oriented style, especially because Karma's big thing is she's just going to push in these waves really hardcore. Her main ability is a Inner Flame, which she just throws, does a bit of area effect damage, and she's going to keep pushing this lane up. It seems to be the case here. Oh, a lot of extra poke damage to Aether Fox.
Yeah, I mean, I could see going either way with Ignite or Barrier on Syndra. You just have to figure later on in the game, Syndra is an immobile, squishy mage, so Barrier is just nice for champions like that. Obviously, it doesn't do a whole lot for her in the lane because Karma isn't really a burst damage champion.
We have a game pause here. Looking to see what it is. But so far, let's take a look at kind of where we're at. So we're looking at the gold lead, and for Scuttle Crab is approximately 2,000 gold, 2,200 to be precise, which is not a huge gold lead at 14 minutes, but it is something. And we see the primary of the gold lead is going to be on the Jinx at the moment. Being 3-1 with a little more than 20 farm ahead, it's going to be a great place for Scuttle Crab to get into the mid game here.
Yeah, actually, despite that tiny gold lead, this game is really dead even so far. Like, the Jinx is ahead, so their bot lane is expectedly ahead. Oh, Hecarim's coming in bot.
Yep, seen the gank. Endo also comes in for the counter gank and gets the kill on Hecarim, which turns into a double kill, which is going to turn into a triple kill under the tower. Turns into a double kill for the Graves, but ultimately a 3-for-0 on the bot lane, plus first turret. So I should have held my tongue. All of a sudden, that 2,000 gold lead turned into a 5,000 gold lead in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, that was a huge play for Scuttle right there. Like we were saying before, the game was pretty much dead even. Oh, and Aether Fox getting a solo
Aether Fox with the
lane.
quick flash solo kill onto Hey Dude 5, followed by the unfortunate 4 Sentinels Infernal Drake going over to Scuttle right afterwards. That was an intense series of plays that just occurred for Scuttle
just
Crab.
like that, in the last 60 or so seconds, like this game is blown wide open for Scuttle, and now Sentinels is in serious trouble if they want to win this game.
I think what we're going to see is the Scuttle classic macro play right here. They're going to send their bottom lane to the top. They're going to push in this top tower. They're going to send either 3 or 4 people there, because right now the Kennen can't really do anything versus Garen. He's having a hard time clearing right now. He maxed his Q for poke damage, which when I play Kennen on the top lane, I like to prefer the W, so that way as you auto attack, you're getting your mark and then getting your W harass off is a little more consistent. Also gives you wave clear. So right now, as we can see, Scuttle grouping up in the top lane. They got Graves on the clearing his top side jungle, so if they need to call him up, he's available for counter ganking and fighting. They're just pushing him off the tower. Shadow Bolt is doing his best. Oh, goes in directly for the engage here. Hecarim comes in, but they have too much damage for the Kennen, and Kennen goes down. The double kill going to Garen. Unfortunately, that fight wasn't the most smooth. They did not really chain together their CC, as Kennen, when he puts that lightning field up, can create those lightning stacks very quickly and stun everyone around him, which should have gave Hecarim a quick chance to ult onto Jinx, immediately followed by pushing him back with his charge, and then doing a lot of damage, but unfortunately it did not turn out that way, allowing Garen to teleport to the bot lane. I don't know if he'll be able to repel this. Garen's not exactly the best 1v2 player, especially versus Kaisa. But Scuttle is not done. They're marching around the map together. 3 men pushing into the mid lane. If they get this hook, it's going to be a kill. They did not.
Yeah, the Sentinel's bot lane has to be super careful here. Scuttle has pretty much entire control of everything outside of their inner ring of turrets, so they're in a really vulnerable position if they stay out by that outer turret.
Looks like they're sending the Jinx solo top just to take down that top tower. I'm assuming they're just put Kennen up there to defend it. We'll have to see. Garen is just pushing his lane because that's what he can do. He just spins around in a circle, does a lot of damage, kind of walks around the map. So as we now we see, there's the Jinx going to the top lane. Kennen's going to have a hard time clearing this wave with the Jinx and Thresh here. And if he gets hooked here, I was going to say it's another kill. But this is another reason why I like to see that W. He could have cleared that entire wave with a max Rekt W. And
this might be a free kill on Syndra here. She can land a Scatter the Weak. She is probably on cooldown.
Yep. And Hecarim going and gets the solo kill onto, or not the solo kill, but gets a kill onto Syndra. Although we have to look at the top lane here. Shadow Wolf getting very low versus this. Although perfect timing on that stun, putting Heydu 5 in the possible dead position here. Although they just kind of let him get away. Darth Head is going to end up getting the double kill because they did not commit. Karma kind of let him go instead of just saying, you know, I'm sorry, Shadow Vold, you're too low. We have to get a kill here. But instead, both of them walk away, which is a disaster for Team Blue Sentinel. But a big victory for Team Scuttlecrab.
Yeah, I really like what they tried to do, the Sentinels in the top lane around that turret. Like the original play where Kennen flashed ulted in and then Hecarim and then Karma. I just think that they were slightly disjointed and slightly miscommunicated, because if they had followed up on that immediately, it would have gone very different. Kennen had the 3 of them locked up for quite a while, and he also has quite a bit of damage. And they could have just killed all 3 of them if they had reacted immediately. Unfortunately, the Hecarim came in a little bit late. Kennen was already dead, and then the Karma came in even later than that, and the Hecarim was dead. So it was just like slightly too late. They could have just turned the game around from that, but it looks like they're just going to keep snowballing on that side of Scuttle.
Indeed, so we're not to see them moving around here, around the map, to see what sort of... Well, it looks like they're getting 5 here in the bot lane. Team Scuttle just kept the catch on to Quaz, which he just got.
I wonder if he disconnected.
I think he did. It looks like a disconnect here. We're expecting to see a pause in just a second, I imagine. As he just didn't dodge into that, just got killed. He must be having some internet problems right now. That's really unfortunate. Which is unfortunate, but right now, I mean, the game is just so far gone at this point.
Yeah, they didn't end up pausing, but he's reconnected up.
Yeah, it's just... It's not looking so good. They're going to try their best to do a defense here. They do have some wave clear. If we wanted to see a Team Blue Sentinel comeback, we're going to have to see a catch. We're going to have to see some crowd control right now.
Jinx.
Here it comes. All the damage. They're going to have to get it in. If Jinx dies right now, this is it. This is exactly what they needed. They got 3 for 2 currently right now. Chasing down the Garen. Karma speed-ups are possible. Although Garen is hard to get away from.
Graves is going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is going to be tough here, but I don't think they should be staying. Trying to turn that, it's going to be
smoke screen.
Smoke screen comes in.
The most broken ability in the game.
It really is. It does a lot of damage, prevents a lot of damage outcoming. So that's...
Yeah, I think it was smart of them to take their victory back off. No, not to give away any free kills.
And that was actually a very good turnaround for Blue Sentinel. That gave them about 1,000 gold.
That was really
turnaround.
indicative of exactly what Sentinels need to do with the champions that they've picked. Hecarim ults in, huge balls, just ults immediately. It jumps on Jinx, and then the Kennen follows up immediately, locking up pretty much the whole team. And then Jinx isn't really able to do anything before just dying. She doesn't have a QSS, so I'm sure they're aware of that. So if any kind of follow-up on that Kennen Hecarim engage, should be able to wipe this team. Maybe Garen will walk away, but it won't matter.
That's true. I mean, at this juncture, it's going to be difficult. Garen does have 2 items. He does not have quite the breakpoint of armor yet to make him essentially unkillable. But Scuttle is moving around. They took Ocean Dragon, which it's going to be useful for them. It's going to allow them to siege a little bit. Not really too consequential, so I think Team Blue Sentinel got a little break there from it not being Mountain or not being Infernal.
I really like the Garen build. He hasn't really built any armor, but if you look at the damage on the Sentinels team, they're really magic damage heavy with the Kennen Karma and the Kaisa and the Zyra. So I like that build. The Spear Visage really smart. I probably would have Ninja Tabby would still be better, just considering all the champions they have that auto attack. But either way, he's soaking up a lot of damage on the front line.
That is true. I think the reason why he went Merc Treads is probably because of the Kennen Stun, the Hecarim Fear, the Karma Root, and the Zyra Root are all affected by Tenacity.
Yeah, like I think either choice would be good, just depending on what your goal is.
True. And it looks like they're just gonna muscle Blue Sentinels right off that top turret at the moment. So they're looking for a fight here. And again, that's Garen. He stands there, he walks in your face, and you just go after him, and he just hits his Q ability. I believe it's Decisive Strike, and then gets that extra speed bonus, breaks all the slows you put on him, and just kind of runs away.
If they can get this Baron for free, they can end the game. But at the moment, the game is really still up in the air. It's really one-sided, it seems, but really one team fight could turn it completely around. So securing this Baron would be huge for Scuttle. They'd be able to close out the game pretty easily.
Yeah, they're not making a decisive move yet to actually finish it, but now it looks like they are. It looks like they finally turned. They pushed off Blue Sentinels enough that they can go and finish it. Takes the Baron, which is going to be just...
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. The Hecarim goes in. Everyone's going in. So it looks like they're just kind of... The last stand was in the jungle. Flash is going out. Ultimate's going out. The full 4 for 0 with the Baron. This is going to be a brutality on their base right now. Kennen gets hooked. Gets pushed away. It looks like he's going to go down here. Gets hit by the box. There's the clean ace coming out. 5 for 0 with the Baron and powered minions pushing down the tower. Gonna take the inhibitor. And although death timers aren't that long yet, I still feel like they're just gonna push down this Nexus right now.
Yeah, they're long enough. That's all she wrote for this one.
Yeah, their team, they're all 5 up right now. I don't think they're really gonna do anything about it. Going in on the Jinx, trying to do the damage. They have more than enough shields going in on them. Garen is gonna be too beefy of a front line. Quaz goes in, tries to get the damage off.
Right now.
And there it is. There it goes. Karma's going to get killed. The triple kill for Darth Ted, ending the game out. Going back for the 4 more people dying at the end. And that's going to be Team Scuttle taking game number 1. D-Fox, what do you think?
Yeah, really well played by Scuttle. It pretty much played out exactly like we were talking about before the match. The bot lane was going to be the major deciding factor. If Scuttle's bot lane gets an early lead and snowballs that, then they will roll over them. I will say, though, there was a possibility of some major turnarounds in some of the team fights on the backs of the Kennen and the Hecarim combo. I just think that it's maybe not quite as practiced, or they're not communicating clearly what they want to do, because it seems like they're all kind of going in at slightly different times. Now, if they were coordinated with those engages, there definitely would have been some very different team fights, and they could have potentially just completely reversed the snowball. They did have the early Infernal Drake, which is what I was looking for, because if the game would have dragged on, that would have really evened out the stats once they started to get even on items. So yeah, it was interesting, but yeah, pretty much as predicted, Scuttle with the very strong bot lane, Jacef landing hook after hook and playing that Thresh pretty much perfectly. getting all sorts of free kills on the Jinx, which is exactly what you don't want if you're Sentinels. And there's not much they could do to stop that.
That's true, and I'll be very interested to see where we're going to be in this next game. We're just going to have a very short break, and we're going to get right back to the action. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Rekt League Week 2, match number 2, from Team Scuttle Crab to Team Sentinels. So we just saw the thrilling conclusion for game number 1 in this, and we saw that Scuttle Crab, it was very close between the teams. There was a little bit of action going on. We saw Scuttle Crab's bot lane being very strong, as we knew they would be. It was only a couple thousand gold, and then all of a sudden, within 60 seconds, we saw the gold lead shoot up about 4,000 gold to 6,000 in between them, which was a really insurmountable gold amount for Team Blue Sentinel to come back from. So where did you think that Team Blue Sentinel went wrong, and where do you think Scuttle Crab needs to lean on for this game in order to succeed?
Well, I think so. That was pretty much the snowball off bot lane that we had talked about and expected. I think that Sentinels very much could have turned that around at several different points with the engage, the hard engage from the Kennen Hecarim combo. Um, if they pick a similar comp with a hard engage like that, I want to see them uh, executing those by communicating exactly what they're trying to do and executing like in sync. I think as long as they do that, it'll go exactly the way they want, and they'll win those team fights. That said, I wouldn't be surprised if they think about maybe banning the Thresh away. Although we know from last season that there are a lot of champs that Jacep can play and support and play really, really well. So banning the Thresh might not be too effective, but it might be an option for them if they are worried about that catch potential.
Agreed. I'm really interested to see what the pick ban is going to be for this time around. I think both teams are about to get ready. I'm really interested to see what the bot lane adaptation is going to end up being for Team Blue Sentinel. We know that they have a difficult lane ahead of them. I'm really interested to see what they do. So I'm looking to see some bans being changed up this time. I'm hoping to see, like you said, Thresh being taken away, potentially even something like Jinx being taken away, and then picking Kaisa. I'd like to see what else Darth Ted can play. And we've known he can play that Misfortune, but we'll have to see. Also, I want to see what Shadow of Old pulls out in the top lane. As you can see, Garen and Kennen is a very volatile matchup. It's not really impactful because either side doesn't really have kill pressure on the other. So we'll have to see where that goes. I'm interested to see what they do this time around. Get Shadow of Old on something that can carry really hard.
Yeah, I really liked his Kennen. Unfortunately, it just wasn't. It requires so much coordination from the team, and it just wasn't quite falling into place for him in that game. But played really well, farmed, got some serious damage early, and got some really good engages off. So if he picked that again, I wouldn't be surprised. I would like to see a lot more jungle focus on the bot lane on the side of Sentinels, because that is the lane where they're having the most trouble with, and rightly so because of Scuttle's bot lane being so strong. So I would like to see their jungle focus on ganking that early, putting a lot of pressure, maybe just camping it and getting the bot side pressure to try to turn that into an early dragon.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. So we're getting underway with the bans currently. We see Dr. Mundo taken away from Scuttle Crab, which we know that's Skyrocket's signature champion. We see the Nocturne taken away from Hot Soup 5, as we know that that is one of his very pressureful and very effective damage dealing from the jungle champions. Malphite taken away from Shadow of Old. Ray taken away from Aether Fox, as expected. Tarek taken away from Rice, as we know that Rice is being subbed in the bot lane for Athkor currently. And we know that Tarek is one of his signature very good and well-timed champions for team fighting. So they definitely want to prevent that from coming out, from really making their team fights significantly more challenging. And the final ban taking away the Trundle from Endo, so I expect that we'll probably end up seeing a Graves being picked up again in the jungle.
Yeah, that would be smart. I mean, the Graves was pretty effective in that game at snowballing the early advantages. It's pretty much the same bans they had before.
They started with the Kaisa, and they wanted to take it away from Quaz because he's also very good in that champion, and I think it's contested. So I think that's a good first pick. I think it's possible here that we see, I'm not sure if Hot Soup 5 plays Graves, but if he does, this would be a good opportunity to pick it away from Endo and see how deep his champ pool gets.
Yeah, I remember researching him last week. He does play a lot of Kaisa. So that's probably going to be a really solid pick on Darth Ted.
There's the Galio. And we've seen Galio be played in the top lane from Shadow of Old, as well as his standard location, which is the mid lane. So I think this is a potential flex pick here, depending on what we see. Or potentially they're just going to guess Aether Fox goes right for that Syndra again, and just put him right in the mid lane to protect that matchup. Misfortune. I am so pumped for this because Misfortune is one of my favorite AD carries to watch. She has some of my favorite abilities in the game, and I just love seeing the matchup. Unfortunately, it can be difficult versus a Kaisa because once Kaisa gets in on you, it's almost impossible to win with Misfortune. But we'll have to see.
I like that adaptation actually because last game they just both picked these hyper scaling late game AD carries, and so only one of them is going to snowball, whichever one gets the lead. With Misfortune, she's actually really strong early, so they're looking to try to get early advantage and prevent the Kaisa from snowballing. So that seems pretty smart pick to me.
I think
Syndra
so.
100% expected.
Yeah, as expected, and has to be picked in the first rotation, or else they will ban it away from Aether Fox, pulling away his two primary champions. So that was kind of like a free pick and kind of like a gimme for Blue Sentinel going into this draft. The Aurelia coming out. So we're expecting the Aurelia to go to the top lane, I'm assuming, because Shadowvolt has a lot of games on many different top lane champions. And I'd have to imagine Galio going directly up against that Syndra because he has a extra shield that he gains from magic damage, and Syndra wants to do a lot of magic damage, making him a good counter pick to that. So what do they take away? They take away the Morgana. We know JSF can play Morgana, hits his bindings, his root very well. They have the ability to Black Shield, which could prevent things like Galio's all of his CC from going down. Or Aurelia, of course, same thing, can prevent her stuns. So they don't want that to occur. They take away the Leona in the bot lane, which they know Rice also plays, giving him an engage, removing that from Blue Sentinels.
Yeah, that's some smart bans. I'm kind of surprised that Sentinel didn't pick their support already because allowing them to ban even more supports is going to definitely hurt what they're trying to do in the bot lane, getting an early advantage and preventing the snowball on the side of Scuttle. So I would you would have liked to see them pick up their support in the first rotation, but we'll see what they do end up going with and see if they can get another champion that's going to allow them to chain CC and lock down and get the damage to get the kills early.
Agreed. And they took away the Hecarim that was played last game. Although it wasn't incredibly effective, it did do plenty of damage. And if things were slightly different, a couple of those fights could have went a hair's distance in either direction. Hecarim could have come out with a lot of different kills and affected many different lanes. So I think it was a good ban.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the Jungle Jacks, but I guess we'll see how it's played. It's one of those picks that's really situational because it's pretty weak early on, especially in the jungle, but it can scale completely out of control. So if they're looking for early game advantages, I'm not sure how I feel about Jax as a champion that will facilitate that, but
But all I have to say is, woo! I love this game. We got Misfortune and Nautilus in the same game, which are two of my favorite champions to watch, not only play and also watch. So I think JSF was looking to take away the Nautilus from Rice, who has played that a lot in the past as another primary engage. And we see Rice go to his Braum, which he has also played quite a few games on recently, and he is proficient in. So I think it's going to be a very kind of early game focused bottom lane with Misfortune and Braum. If he tags a couple of those, Braum has the ability to shoot his Q ability. He throws a like ice shield thing out of his, and if he tags an enemy in 3 more auto attacks or basic attacks, you will stun the character. So the nice part about that is Braum and Misfortune are going to be looking to put some early pressure on Kaisa and Nautilus. Nautilus, of course, is a big tank that has a hook, another champion to kind of catch people out and put them out of position for Kaisa to go in and do extra damage. Also counts as crowd control, so Kaisa is able to quickly jump in and do what Kaisa does, a lot of burst damage very quickly. Other than that, we're going to look at Syndra versus Galio. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that matchup?
well, so I think he accurately predicted that Aether Fox was going to pick up the Syndra again, and Galio just ends up being a really safe pick in terms of Syndra's not going to have a lot of early kill pressure, although she did switch to Ignite this time instead of the barrier. So it's definitely possible as soon as she hits 6 to get a kill on that Galio, just do a little bit of poking and he can just be bursted. That said, I think he's going to be looking to just farm it up and be safe because their goal, just like last game, is to have a very hard engage area CC heavy comp. And with the Galio, the Jax, and the Aurelia diving onto your backline, your Kaisa or your Syndra, that has the potential to be extremely effective, especially given their given the comp coming out from Scuttle, where they have relatively low overall team damage. If Syndra or Kaiser were to get caught and bursted by the engage, then they don't really have a lot of damage left. So they're probably going to lose a team fight in which that happens. So I think that is their overall strategy. The hard engage, lock down one of their squishy damage dealers, get that kill immediately, and then clean up the fight from there. That said, if Scuttle can do the same thing, get a catch on the misfortune, then that leaves them in a really awkward situation where everyone else on the team is melee and they don't really have a lot of burst damage, just a lot of sustained damage coming out from Aurelia and Jax. So they could potentially just disengage that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a challenging one. Going in, I mean, also engaging into a Syndra never feels good, but if they get her caught out, could be a nice situation. And of course, having all the melee champions gives Misfortune a nice beefy front line in order to lay down that ultimate pretty cleanly, hopefully, for Blue Sentinel.
Yeah, overall, I do like the comp. I mean, like I said, Jax to me is a very high risk, high reward kind of pick for this particular style. So we'll see how well that's played, how well that's executed, and they can communicate what their intention is. That said, if they do execute that cleanly, it is going to be a really easy game for Quaz on the Misfortune.
That's true, and I'm hoping to see that. I love seeing split games. I love seeing teams come back from defeat and then steal a win away right afterwards. Right now, Scuttle is 3-0, where we're looking at a 1-2 Blue Sentinels. I'm rooting for the underdogs in this one. I want to see some parity. I want to see them come back. I love the comeback kids.
Yeah, I think the rest of the teams in the league at this point just want to see Scuttle show some kind of weakness because they have been really solid so far in all of their games.
That is true. It does seem right now that there is not much you can do about it. Skyrockets plays he plays very beefy, very difficult to kill top laners. We have some high impact in the jungle from Endo. We have Aether Fox, he's very consistent on his two champions. So giving him one or the other is going to be it's going to be hard to break through. We have Darth's Head JSF bottom lane, which we knew going into this was going to be one of the more premier bottom lanes in our league. So you're right. This is going to be a challenging one, and I'm hoping to see some life. I want to see some proactive plays from Scuttle Crab. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the takedown.
For me, this besides obviously the bot lane is a huge contention, and Scuttle has an extremely strong bot lane. For me, this match is going like last match. We were really looking at the top lane because we weren't sure how that would play out. This match for me is a jungle because not really sure how Endo plays on Kayn. That has the potential to be huge with the early gank pressure, the snowball once he hits 6 and transforms. We'll see if he's going to go for an assassin blue Kayn or if he's going to go for like a beefier red Kayn. Or if the Jax can get some early advantages and snowball really hard and completely shut down the Kayn, that to me is going to be like the very volatile, very potentially game-winning or game-breaking matchup there at the jungle.
That'll be very interesting. I have not seen Endo play Kayn yet, so I'm very interested to see how that turns out and where he's able to affect.
Yeah, that's a tough champion to play well. The mechanics on his ult and landing his, I believe it's W that does the knockup. That is also his like main source of damage, that ability. So being able to land it is pretty critical, but also when you're ulting, there's a lot of room there for outplay, for misplay. So we'll see what happens with that.
So we got a fully defensive start from Team Blue Sentinel. As you can see, they're fanned out across the rift, looking to see if anyone's going to try any cheeky invades coming on out. But instead, we're looking at a very, we'll say, defensive but aggressive start from Blue Sentinel, or from Scuttle Crab, excuse me, looking to catch someone out who decided they wanted to try to invade, try to get that early kill to put them ahead. But instead, it looks like everyone's just going to walk to their lanes. Garen sporting that Warring Kingdom skin with the nice Jade blade. Looking good.
Yeah, Sentinel doesn't want any level 1 shenanigans. They want to play their lanes the way they've picked them. They want to try to play their comp the way that they've designed it. So I understand where they're coming from. They don't want to risk any early advantages for this heavily snowbally team that they've picked on Scuttle. I like that conservative strategy in this case.
Yeah, I think it's smart of them to do that. We're gonna have a little bit more kill pressure here on top lane. Aurelia can definitely do plenty of damage to Garen and stick to Garen without having the possibility of getting absolutely demolished in a return kill like Kennen does with his lower base stats. We're gonna see a lot of trading in the bot lane. There's gonna be a lot of pushing in the top lane. Oh, JSF slightly off with that hook. That could have been an early, maybe even kill on Misfortune. That is plenty of damage coming out of the Nautilus and the Kaisa in the beginning of the game. But otherwise, it looks like there's just some standard trading going on in the mid lane right now. Kane looking to grab the top Scuttle.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
looks like
a
little bit of a disconnect.
Was backed off. It looked like he was, DC'd or something, and they paused.
Not having good luck today with our connections. Just having Quaz disconnect from the previous game. It looks like potentially even disconnected from the game before that as well. So other than that, it looks like a pretty standard start from both sides. Which quick look at the game. We just have a basic small CS lead in the top, which might be taken care of once the wave hits the tower. As Garen has an opportunity to take the CS back, take the farm, get that money. It looks like the Jax has cleared a little bit more of his jungle. I'm surprised to see both junglers leave the Krugs. As I've been learning more about the jungle, I think it's something that if you clear it early, it really pays dividends in experience as well as money. Especially when you have characters like Jax who are able to, depending on how he starts, if he does start with his E, of course, he can really mitigate a lot of the damage that Krugs do to you and hit them back very quickly. So it's even Kane, who does a lot of burst damage, can start red, go Krugs, and really get himself ahead in the experience and getting ready to counter jungle. But otherwise, they're just doing some standard things. Scuttle still open on the bot side. Kane is taking it on the top, which puts Endo in his very popular 2-minute and 30-second gank on top, which I think he's going to be walking to right after this. You think we're going to see a top lane gank coming in here?
It's possible that Kane could just go immediately to top lane from the river. I don't think they're going to have a lot of kill pressure. Unless Kane can somehow land a knockup on Aurelia, I just don't see them having the damage and or lockdown that they need to kill an Aurelia. She's got that corrupting potion. She can heal up. Yeah, I mean, they might put some early pressure up there, but I don't think that Aurelia's going to be too worried about it.
Let's see. Okay. Well, otherwise, yeah, I think I'm really just gonna walk away from it. There's not too much Kane can do. I'm interested to see how fast he gets his transformation. So there's a mechanic with Kane. I don't fully understand it because I've only played Kane, I think, once ever. But as you do deal damage, as you, I believe, get kills on champions, it's possible that you gain specific color orbs based on the type of champion that it is, which allows you to transform into, I believe it's Rust, which is the red Kane, or like Shadow Kane, who defeats. He has a sentient blade that he is holding that he is either dominating or it dominates him. But as we see, the game is starting, so I don't get to tell you more sweet lore. But as we see Aurelia looking to scuffle a little with Scuttle Crab in the river. Kane nicely just goes in, gets some extra damage, and moves back. Says, not today. You can try your best to get some poke on me, but instead I'll be the one who is poking you.
So the early wards are going to spot Jax out. He wants to invade, but they saw him coming a mile away.
Yeah, they pinged him very quickly, and they just... Thankfully, the blast plant was up. Could hit that and leave. Not allowing him to take any extra damage that he's not expecting. Bot lane right now. Misfortune a little behind us. As almost expected. We might see a little bit of return CS here. But I'm expecting JSF to walk up and try to look for a hook on Misfortune at this tower. But Misfortune is doing a good job playing backwards, not letting herself get in that position.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Braum play up a little bit more just to body block and make sure that
Gank in
Nautilus
the
isn't
top lane,
able
gets
to
the
land up.
flash. Kane going in. They're going for the first blood here.
Oh,
Gets
they
the
do get
first
it.
blood. The red buff applying the extra slow. It just paths out right now. Hey Dude 5 going in. Here's a return gank coming in. We have a no flash on Kane. We have a teleport coming in from the bot lane right now. Or from the top lane coming back in, excuse me. And that was a good return gank there. Gets the kill off on Kane. Refreshes the red buff onto or the blue buff onto Jax. That was not a bad series of plays. And now we just have to look to the bot lane to hold what they have. Do their best to try to get some CS back. Aether Fox here, a little forward in lane, is gonna have to escape through the bot side. And that was quite a series of matches there. I give Blue Sentinel some credit for not just letting themselves take that death lying down. They just went in with a vengeance.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised at the early top lane pressure, but they did get a kill and then the return kill, so it's pretty much a wash. Both teams getting a kill and a couple assists out of it, or at least one assist. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised though. I would like to see a lot more bot lane focus because we know how that went last game, and obviously Sentinels does not want to let that game get out, or that lane get out of control like it did. I would like to see Jax, and they are. As soon as I say that, he's down here in the bot lane now, standing on a ward though, unfortunately.
Rice taking a bit of damage, but that's not a big deal. If they can get a commitment to this fight, it would end up being okay. Unfortunately, Quaz is only 4, so he's not going to be able to apply, and he has been leveling up his Q. So he's looking for a little bit of poke damage, not necessarily so much of the standard kind of misfortune build where you maximize your E to do the slow and allow for gank assist and extra damage there. But Quad's going in, getting extra damage, and the stun goes off from Rice's concussive blows, and they get the extra stun off on the Nautilus here. Nautilus is waddling away, but they're putting themselves in a pretty dangerous position. That was a good trade back, a series of trades from Team Blue Sentinel. The only problem is right now, Misfortune is completely out of mana.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of potential to finish off a kill because they have no mana. All the summoners still up in that lane though, so it could turn into a very explosive fight if a hook is land.
There's a couple things I'd love to see from Quaz. There's a couple times where he's just using his Q to harass in a single shot. I think if he does a little bit more of the auto Q, he might find a little bit more damage coming up, where you can use your Q followed by, or your auto attack followed by a Q in order to kind of like shoot twice almost at the same time. Jacef and Darth Tad are doing a great job preventing the angles from Misfortune. One of her abilities is she can shoot a minion with her Q attack. It will bounce off the minion in a small cone behind it. So they, as you can see right there, it bounced off and hit Jacef, which was a big deal. Did plenty of extra damage, taking out a fairly large chunk of his health. Good dodge on the bottom lane here, and then we see a little bit of pushing in the mid lane. There isn't too much going on. I'm not expecting to see a lot of deaths between Galio and Syndra. Syndra going to be pushing up the lane. I think Galio is going to be doing primarily trying to get priority by using his Winds of War to do a bunch of area effect damage on all the minions in the mid lane in order to walk up to different lanes and be able to use his, I believe it's heroic entrance in order to show up and really affect these lanes. So Garen and Aurelia getting some fighting off together.
Yeah, Gallia's maybe looking for an alt-top. He's hit 6 now, so he's going to be looking to make a play in either the bot or top lane. Probably bottom lane would be more effective for the counter gank. He's such a strong counter ganker because he comes in, immediately gives the damage reduction to the ally, and then creates the large area that you just don't want to be in if you're on the enemy team because he will knock you up. A lot of lockdown once he does get there. So I really like that pick, and I definitely want to see them try to make some big plays in the bot lane.
Endo really looking to affect. He was looking to invade Jax, but ended up running into him and getting into a little skirmish. So it's interesting to see how Endo is going to choose to path here, because he does have Krugs to finish, which is going to put him at bot side. So, as you were saying, if the the fighting does come bot side, he's going to be in a very good position to join in on a counter gank, which could potentially be devastating.
Yeah, they're both level 6 on Scuttle. Okay, so they just hit 6 on Sentinel as well. So they might have been looking for a dive there, but they had a level advantage and just lost it. So
Hotsuit 5 with the fancy waiting for Garen to do the damage, followed by the leap strike to take the Scuttle Crab for Blue Sentinel's favor. Said, nope, taking your family away this time, friend. You don't get to have that. Galio punching things down as you do in the bot lane, getting that Winds of War and getting the money in the bottom. There's a big fight in the bottom lane, though. We have concussive blows going in on the Nautilus right now. Looking for the extra damage, but then end up breaking it off. It seemed like they were both going to go in as we see the both junglers and the mid lane converging on the bot lane.
Oh, missed that hook. That could have been a free kill on the Galio there for sure.
Oh,
they still might get him, though. Okay, he flashes away. Oh no.
And the ult comes out for Misfortune. However, the Syndra comes in and exterminates the Misfortune. Hey Dude 5 comes in to try to save the day. Unfortunately, there's just too much damage here in the bot lane. All 4 members show up, and Rice has to retreat and lick his wounds. I think it's one of those things where he should just go back. I don't know if he can really defend this turret. I think if they just tower dive him, it's the end of his stay on this brief mortal coil.
Yeah, that went really unfortunately for Sentinels here. They had the good idea with the Galio coming down to look for an ult. Scuttle anticipated that, and they were ready for him to come, and they were waiting in the brush with the control ward. Again, we see them sitting in the brush with the control ward, knowing what to expect, being ready to capitalize on it. So Galio actually doesn't get to do much and has to flash away. And then, unfortunately, the Braum is in a perfect position to block the stun from the Syndra, but does not get his shield up in time. So Syndra gets a double stun off of Braum and MF. And yeah, they get some free kills off that. Really unfortunate. Sentinels was in good position there. Just like slightly misexecuted a couple things.
That's true. We're just gonna have to see where this goes. I mean, right now the Garen is keeping up in CS with the Aurelia, so it's not like we're getting an incredible lead there. I'm interested to see where Sentinel starts to make some moves. It is a low kill game thus far. At this point in time, we're starting to get to the point where 14 minutes is the time we're looking for. That was when the crash of 2018 occurred and the Sentinel stock.
Oh wow, there is a 5 level difference between this top laner and this jungler.
Wow, that was destruction right there. That Shadow of Old came in and absolutely devastated the Kayn, which is going to be a big deal because it looks like they're probably just going to go take Rift Herald, and then we're going to have to see what happens to the bot side. They know that the jungler's top side right now. They're free to push in this turret, get some extra chip damage. Just doing a little bit extra damage to that turret. Misfortune doing her best to get the CS. Trying to keep up. Only down by 15 at this point. That's not bad.
Okay, not a 5. I thought it was level 4 there for a second. More fighting in the bot lane. Never ends.
You're right, though, but it was a 3-level difference from level 9 to level 6. And that's not anything. Oh, Rice going in right now. Darth Ted not respecting the Misfortune. Gets the flash off. Nautilus ult coming in, knocking her up in the air to prevent that extra damage from going in and finishing it. Darth Ted taking the safe approach, and Jsef both leaving. Everyone leaving the lane, kind of letting it reset.
A lot of summoners blown in the bot lane there. Braum has to flash. MF has to heal. Nautilus blew the exhaust.
Kai'Sa flashed.
Kai'Sa had to flash. Tons of summoners blown, but nobody dies. So they just reset.
They do find the jungler. Junglers run into each other in the bot lane. Looking for that Scuttle Crab, which ends up being taken and going to Team Scuttle Crab. Taking their birthright, putting it in the jungle for vision. Garen notices that there is a control ward and says, no. I want to see this. Back it up. So Quaz coming back to lane, gets the double up onto Jsef, tags Kai'Sa with the Q. They're coming back lane. They're saying, all right, we're ready to fight. Let's see what you guys got. Garen and Aurelia fighting. Unfortunately for Aurelia, she is the villain. And I didn't get to finish talking about this in the last game, but the villain is someone who Garen does extra damage to. For each...
Kayn is coming in to gank bot again.
Ooh, so. Here we go. You're right. He's sitting there. He's preparing.
Oh, good ward.
His blue emo hair. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's got some anime going on right now. Skyrockets gets the solo kill on Shadow of Old. I did not get to see that, waiting for the gank in the bot lane. So what must have ended up happening is that when you were the villain, you take an extra percent health damage, 1% of your maximum health per tick of his spin, his judgment, I believe it's called. And you also take full true damage, extra 2 damage from his ultimate. So you really are in a bad space. If Garen goes in on you, you're going to get silenced, you're going to get spun on, extra damage is coming in, and he's going to blow you up with that ultimate. So it's exactly what happened in the top lane. If I could rewind it, I'm sure that's what
really
we'd
want to
see.
make a play on this bot lane here. We've got 4 members.
4 members, but unfortunately they're just constantly getting spotted out by that vision. And now we're seeing the most important parts of the game, which is if you have vision, it's almost like having a map hack. You know they're coming.
Yeah, Scuttle's bot lane has had just impeccable vision in all of their games so far. So they're really difficult to gank.
That was very close. Nautilus going for that Q. Almost landed that hook there. If it would have been so, that would have been definitely an all-in fight opportunity. As Nautilus does have his ultimate, so does Kai'Sa.
Bad shape here.
Yeah, I think he's gonna end up going down. They might end up getting the return kill on Endo though, if he correctly changes CC, which he does. Oh, gets the stun on Aether Fox. Aurelia hits. Oh my goodness. Hits him with the ultimate, the Vanguard's Edge from Aurelia. Aurelia going in, getting the return kill. Skyrockets, though, has shown up, unfortunately, which means they're going to have to make a hasty retreat because the villain is this Galio. And you might see some extra damage coming in real fast. Here's the damage ticking in. Boom.
Wow, just flashes right in.
And that's Garen for you. He just goes in, extra spin damage. Now the villain is back to Aurelia, which is going to be just unfortunate for this time. Look at that extra damage. Just so much damage going in. Garen kills solo 1v2s because of that debuff that he puts on the opponent. You know, if you're the villain, you got to be careful of that dude because he's going to come in and bring the sword of justice down upon you. And he absolutely did that. Quad's putting in the ult there, doing some extra damage. They're really going in hard on this bot lane right now.
Oh, no.
I think they just have to continue. They have to get these kills. You can't back up at this point. You have to continue going. Unfortunately, that was really not where they want to be. Slimmest of margins. 140 health on one target, 200 health on the other target. Really unfortunate. Kayn at the right place at the right time, foiling that possible game-breaking bottom lane matchup.
Yeah, Scuttle had a good opportunity there, but couldn't quite finish a kill on either one of them. They were both super low. And then Kayn coming in just at the right moment to put a stop to that.
Yeah, going back over what we saw there, one of the things that occurred was that Nautilus used his hook ability to... He has the ability to hook, and if he hits a target, he brings them... he and him and the target he hits close together until he brings them and they kind of hit each other. But he also has the ability to hook a piece of terrain. So any part of the terrain that you cannot pass through, he can also hook and bring himself to that, which reduces the cooldown of his hook ability. Garen here doing extra damage to Aurelia. Plenty of damage here. Has his Black Cleaver finished. It looks like Scuttle or Sentinel took an opportunity to get the Rift Herald again, which is excellent. It's going to give them potentially a tower take if they all group up at the right time.
Yeah, I like what the Sentinels are doing. They're being proactive, trying to make plays around the map to give themselves advantages elsewhere, taking objectives. Really good catch on Garen right there. Got the shutdown goal. That was huge.
Absolutely. Just 3 of them. The Jax, the Aurelia, and the Galio have plenty of crowd control. Punch. The Justice Punch to knock them in the air. They have the Counter Strike from Jax. They have the Flawless Duet from Aurelia. Just really throwing those stuns all over the place. And Garen, even though he's very tanky, he's hard to kill. He does not have all of the stats he needs to just be unkillable.
Now the Bash Bros are just making a wreck of this top lane with the Herald.
Absolutely. 1 tower down. Shelly coming in, hitting for 50% of that tower's health. They're just taking out these things very quickly. Aether Fox needs to be careful because if, yeah,
oh,
that's a lot of damage though.
One shots the Jax, just popped them.
That was a great combo from the Syndra, just perfectly executed. Unfortunately, it looks like Kayn has gotten his transformation now, so he's gonna have to knock up on the W. He's gonna get his extra health. He's gonna be much harder to kill. And it just sends everyone running for the hills. 3 people in the top lane. Sending them on back. Although he did miss a kill in the bot lane, it looks like we finally saw the Misfortune and the Braum go in and get the kill in the 2v2 in the bot lane. Well done to Team Blue Sentinel.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. That's exactly what they need. They're getting plays elsewhere on the map, and in this straight-up 2v2, what they wanted from the beginning was to try to get an advantage or get some early kills in this bottom lane because of how strong MF is early, and finally paid off for him right there with the kill.
And I gotta give credit to Skyrockets, just straight tower diving the Aurelia. Walking in, don't care, hitting the buttons, Q followed by the E. You're silencing the Aurelia, you're spinning all over the place on her. You can just non-stop harassment, just pushing her back into the lane. Now overtaking her in farm, he's gonna get even bigger, he's gonna get harder to kill. And now that he's past level 11, so he has the improvement on his health regen, as you can see it ticking up there very quickly. It's hard to do. Although we have some action going on the bot lane here. We got a 3 versus 3 going on. Really going in on this Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's backing up though, skirting around the outsides. We have Misfortune and Rice just going in there, getting the extra damage and flashing up. Unfortunately, Kane walking in. They do not have enough damage to fully commit to this. And Hatsu 5 and Quaz are just too low to continue the fight versus the nearly full health Endo and the nearly full health Jacef. So they tried. If they would have gotten a kill on that Kai'Sa, that would have been a completely different story. The Galio was not in a position to ult in, and he also does not have his ult at the moment. His hero's entrance, so he is. They did their best to do the 3v3. Unfortunately, they picked a fight with somebody who's just slightly too strong.
Yeah, and Kai'Sa's positioning in that fight was pretty much perfect, and they just couldn't get onto him.
Yeah, indeed, indeed.
Did see Syndra get caught out by Aurelia.
Oh, the Nautilus makes a catch onto the Aurelia right here. Garen just spinning to win all in their business again. Again, he's just tower diving through them. It goes in for the flash Q ult. Does not get it. Hatsu lives with less than 10 health.
Oh, wow, that
right
Aurelia's done to save MF's life. Beautiful.
It's too much. But they still get the kill on the Galio. They're just pushing past these turrets. It's going to be really hard for them to take out this lane right now. Their Nautilus has finished his Eye of the Aspect. He has plenty of vision, which he's been very good at. Nautilus is naturally tanky with his W ability adding extra shield, so he's going to be able to tower dive very easily. As you can see, Garen has 3,000 health already. So he's just in 192 armor, so he's just able to sit there. Misfortune's ult doesn't really do anything to him. They go in, they finally get the kill on Darth Ted. Aurelia looking to get out of there. Gets the stun, perhaps getting a kill on Jacef, but Quaz has to watch out. He is the villain right now, and we know what happens to villains. We've seen this happen many times. Galio coming in. The Syndra goes in to try to do the extra damage, but it does not do quite enough to finish off the Misfortune. She does have some items, but just not enough to quite pierce through that final layer of health.
That was basically like a 2-minute long team fight there that started with Syndra getting caught by Aurelia 1v1 and dying, but then just kept on going as people were coming and joining the fight.
Just diving in, going in. There's just non-stop action here from Team Scuttle versus Team Blue Sentinel.
I will say Scuttle maybe came out slightly ahead overall. They are behind, but they're not as behind as they were at last game at this point, and they could easily turn this around with a good team fight.
That's true. What I'm really looking to see here is I would love to see Team Blue Sentinel. They need to group up. They have to get a little bit more on objectives. They don't have the strongest team fight right now, as we've seen that Misfortune doesn't. She did finish her Dusk Blade, so she should be able to do some extra damage right now versus a lot of the squishier targets on the team. For example, if they're able to catch out the Kai'Sa, maybe get a little bit of a stun going up, and catch her under the ult, they're gonna flatten that team fight. But they really need to be judicious how this goes. So here comes the team fight right now. Jacef walks up and just taking some extra damage, and now we have see a fight going on in the river right now. Shadow Bolt getting caught by the Kane, although who's really getting caught? Darth Ted going down here. Jax coming in, stunning up the Kane, although here comes Garen spinning all over the place. We have the 3 versus 3 left. The extra damage coming out on the jungler. Jax going down. We have Galio just trying to do his best. Rice going down at the end here, but you just cannot stop this Garen damage. It's unbelievable. The tankiness of Team Scuttle Crab was too much. They just could not do enough damage in the short period of time for Garen's consistent damage to come out and just kill them. What'd you think, D-Fox?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. That's not the fight that Scuttle or that Sentinels wanted there. Unfortunately, with the Garen just kind of spinning on their whole team the whole time, not going to turn out the way they want at any point, especially with how farmed and how fed this Garen is already. Unfortunately, most of their team was in pretty good position. The MF kind of got caught in a slightly awkward position and then just hard engaged on. They have some good tools for that, especially with the Nautilus ult, the Kayn ult. So, like I was saying before the match, they have an overall low damage comp on Team Sentinel, and if the MF gets jumped on and bursted like she did in that fight, then they really don't have the damage left to finish off the fight.
Oh, Aurelia's not looking too good right now, though. She could potentially go get a kill off on Darthed, although he's baiting this really hard. And it's unfortunate. He is. He's just going in for it. He's just going for the assassination on Darthed if he can get it. That'll feel good for the 1-0, but unfortunately, for them there's nothing you can do. Blue Sentinel looked to take the mid lane as a response. Unfortunately, they do have a teleport up, which is the Garen, and we know what happens when Garen shows up to fights. Judgment Day, quite literally. So we have Endo walking through walls as he does. Kayn likes to do that. Although we're looking to get an assassination here on Darthed. Darthed has purchased his stopwatch. I see he's going for the Guardian Angel. Got it. So the stopwatch saving his life, allowing him to go invulnerable for 2.5 seconds, which is just enough time to do the damage from Endo, to do the damage onto the Jax. So
actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he built that into Zanya's, because they can go either way with it. The Kai'Sa.
That's true. I just imagine at this point they're going to be far enough ahead that if she dies, like that's the only way they win the fight is if they kill Kai'Sa, right? And somehow like kill Kai'Sa early and then somehow back up and kill Garen. But I'm not sure if she gets a Guardian Angel. I don't think there's anywhere to go. But you might be right. If she gets that extra AP damage, if she's going to be doing some extra with her.
Well, it's not just the damage, right? Because with the Zanyas, then she can choose what to avoid. Versus the GA is kind of like, well, you just die wherever you die.
That's true. I'll be interested to see what she goes with it. I'm about to find out momentarily. She's about to take her back. And apparently not going for just one-time use on that stopwatch for now. Going for the Nashor's Tooth. Getting her Stinger. Looking to get some of that extra attack speed, some of that extra damage. Going for the AP on hit. So she's going to be even more of a threat. We see the Jax as the current villain right now. And we need to see Team Blue Sentinel mounting something to do because they have oh my goodness, they have a triple Ocean on, on Team Scuttle. And Ocean regenerates a percentage of your missing health and mana per 5. And triple Ocean Drake is 12% per 5. Which means Garen... Garen, you have to kill him in one go. If he gets away for even a moment, he's just going to heal back up immediately, and it's going to be insane. They're going to have plenty of mana. They don't even need really blue buff anymore. They regenerate so much of their mana. Although the cooldown reduction is nice, but Scuttle right now is looking at anything extended is going to be totally Scuttle's. Oh my goodness. Here gets tagged with the W, Hot Soup 5, goes down. Kai'Sa used her ultimate ability to kind of catch up. Her killer instinct allows her to teleport to her near distance to somebody who's been hit with one of her plasmas or somebody who's been crowd controlled. And there's Garen taking a little bit of damage.
The Jax just isn't really tanky at all. So if he gets caught by himself at all, then it's a good chance he's going to die like he did there.
That's true. And he's really looking for the extra damage, but it's just not really enough because he can't live long enough versus this high damage team. Garen's going in. As you see, the spinning around. Taking the tower hits, although here's plenty of damage, laying it across the team with the Misfortune bullet time. Galio going up there for the heroic entrance, just looking to kind of dodge with some invincibility frames. Endo flashing away. It looks like this is the fight that Team Blue Sentinels needed, but Garen comes back in, catches the Misfortune, and the Nautilus ult, knocking them up at the same time. There's just madness going on over here. The damage is coming back out, but there's just not enough that
The
that
Kai'Sa's
Ocean
dead
Drake
and the
just,
Syndra's dead. They have not much damage left other than Garen.
yeah, as you can see, they were not out of the fight for that long, and the Ocean Drake healed up so much of their health that these extended fights are not going to be what they're looking for here. So they just do not have the damage to take them out at once. They played it well, walked backwards, allowed themselves to regen from their Ocean Drake, and then just went back into the fight, cleaned them up. Ace!
Yep.
2 for 5.
Yeah, Garen has the most gold in the game. He's super fed right now, and so that's the reason.
Look at Endo and Jacef's health. Look at it rocket up right now. This is insane. Everyone has a Garen ult, right?
The triple Ocean Drake strat.
Unbelievable. Like, look at that. They're almost full health right now. They're going to be able to take this, and they won't even have to back. They can just go back and start farming the jungle. This is incredible. It's not, like, they could even go in on Quaz right now. If they go too close, they might have it. Maybe not them two specifically, but that's a lot of damage. This is incredible. That triple Ocean Drake is a little too much. Garen perpetually at full health. They took the tower. They took 2 inhibitors. The base is cracked. Not looking too great right now for Team Blue Sentinel. They're going to need a miracle fight. That seemed like it was the fight that they needed, but unfortunately it was just not enough for them to take away more than 2 kills. But they did take 2 important kills away, but just that Garen is consistent and it's oppressive damage right now. So what do you think has to happen? What is the big move that needs to be done for Blue Sentinel to come back in this game? What do you think has to happen first?
Well, yeah, so this is going to be really tough for Sentinels because of their bottom mid inhibitors being down. Scuttle is just going to look to either secure the Baron or force a fight around Baron. Unless they catch them out mid here, which they
just
might.
caught Galio. They do the extra damage. Justice Punch sends them away. The Nautilus ult will catch up to you. That was a good ultimate from Rice to disengage. Unfortunately, does get caught again by Nautilus Q. The teleport coming from Aurelia, they really cannot allow this team fight to occur the way it is. Unfortunately, there's not much that can happen right now. It looks like Scuttle Crab just could be making right now, just pushing up the mid wave like they're doing. Make a direct line, start to just clear out vision from Baron, and just force them to fight them around Baron, at which point Blue Sentinel's going to walk into them at Baron. They're probably going to die.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sentinels is on a limited clock here because their base is going to start getting inundated with super minions. They really need to make a decision and hard engage and win a decisive team fight, or they're just going to slowly lose.
Because as you look here, the clock is ticking. The bottom lane right now has super minions, so I think they're going to play the safe route. They're going to back up, do their best to try to clear out the super minions, and when that happens, Team Scuttle Crab just moseys on over to the Baron. It's going to easily take that. It looks like I think Aurelia's going to try to go for the Miracle Steal. It looks like they're playing it just like they would in the Pro Leagues right now. Garen comes out, tries to do their best to just harass him down. They put in the extra damage. If they get this Aurelia kill, blue team takes Baron Nashor, which is going to ultimately spell the end of the game. They're just going in, doing the extra damage. Nautilus throws his ult up, gets the root off on Galio. They're just going to keep chasing this down and eventually just walk through the mid lane, empower those super minions, and slowly siege this out. So unless there is somehow Garen just gives up and just walks away from the tower, I don't think there's any way they're going to go through this. Quaz puts down the extra damage on the minion wave, trying to pad his stats for the damage done. And there it goes, ladies and gentlemen. And however you'd like to be identified, thank you for watching today as we watch Scuttle Crab take Game 2 in a decisive 2-0 victory against Team Blue Sentinel. What do you think about the game? How did it get to where it was, D-Fox?
Well, so I guess on Sentinel's side, they really didn't have an answer for the Garen. They didn't respect the power of the Garen early on. Garen getting a couple of solo kills under Aurelia's turret, getting some kills off of skirmishes between the junglers and the mid laners coming up to the top lane. And then Garen is such an oppressive champion with any kind of lead, especially towards the late game, that they really just did not have an answer Um, Jax being like the closest thing to an answer that they had, but he was way too squishy to deal with Garen. So yeah, that was just something that the Sentinels could not do anything about, and you saw it play out in the team fights where they were actually really close in terms of everyone else on Scuttle's team, with the potential to die, get bursted, get caught out. But the Garen was kind of just doing whatever he wanted in the team fights and cleaning them up slowly but surely.
Yeah, it was it was pretty ridiculous, and
Team
I think
Scuttle flexing their claws.
oh, absolutely. I think we're definitely gonna have to get Skyrockets in here. That was I want to ask him just about that Garen play. Just let's see what they got to say about it. Is there anything else you think we should bring in? I think Skyrocket. I'd like to talk to him about it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's really any of them I'd be interested. So yeah, Skyrockets would be good.
Okay, let me get some. Let's get them in here. Let's hear what they have to say. Bringing in Skyrockets first from Blue Sentinels, which apparently there they are. Let's get them in here. Sky Rockets.
Hey,
Well done.
thank you.
So let me ask the first question I have in my mind is, it comes out game one, they ban your Mundo. Like, what's going through your head? What's your team talking about at this point? Did you come in place with the Garen? Like, what's some of the things in the mindset? Why did you go to the Garen?
So Garen's just really strong right now. Mundo is too, but it seems that it's a pretty common theme that he gets banned. So, especially after
Against
playing,
you, yeah, against you.
yeah, especially after last year where I kind of found myself with a shallow champ pool. It seemed like later in the season I was kind of getting banned out of the game. So this year, I decided to pick up a few more champs and get pretty decent with them, so I could pick them up in case. Well, not in case, right? Because it's a clearly going to happen that Mundo's going to get banned. So yeah. So just deepen my pool, and I have more options available to me. So Aaron wasn't the only one, but felt right. So
Indeed. So
It looked good.
yeah,
It looked right.
exactly. So what were the comms like in that was a 14-minute mark when all of a sudden all of a sudden in 14 minutes last game one, you just went in and destroyed them and went from a 2,000 gold lead to a 6,000 gold lead in a minute. What was going on there? Did you guys just rotate? Like, what were the comms like for that?
yeah. So Darth Ted basically kind of drives everyone around the map, and I think we don't tend to think so much about hey, good job. It's a few congratulations in the middle there, but then it's right back to, all right, we got to continue taking objectives, kind of keeping with the strategy that we have going. I think we're looking to keep these games won and closed out, as quickly and painlessly as possible. So
Well, that's very good. So, speaking of Darth Ted, we brought him into the room to say hello. Darth Ted,
Hey
congratulations on your
everybody, how's it going?
2-0 victory over Team Blue Sentinel. So, tell me, you're the one who's driving the game. You're the one who's walking around the map. Like, it seems you guys are methodical. You go and you take these advantages. How does it? Endo seems to be in the right place. Are you calling him to these locations? How are you guys operating in order to make this work so well?
I mean, there's a lot of communication between the entire team. Is not just me calling stuff. So everyone's kind of feeding where the enemy's vision is and how who's shoved up and who's missing. So we can kind of just play the map around that. And laning phase is a little bit harder, but after we get out of that, we really seem to snowball games just because we work very cohesively as a unit.
Absolutely, and that's very apparent by what we were watching on the screen today. So, what can you tell me about seeing the Misfortune picked against you in match two? I know you like to play Misfortune. I've seen you do it in the past. What was your mindset going into that game?
I was a little bit scared just because she's such a lane bully, and I really like to dominate the lane. But I mean, it was a little unfortunate. The level 1 and 2, I think Rice was kind of AFK for a little bit of it, just lagging. So we kind of just got an early shove, and it made the lane really easy.
Yeah,
So
definitely
really unfortunate for them.
unfortunate for the Blue Sentinels, but well done on just playing the lane like you needed to in order to get ahead. Do you, either of you, Skyrockets or Dark Tide, do you have any teams coming up that you are starting to worry about? Basically, seeing what we've seen thus far, because you're looking pretty unbeatable right now. What do you think?
I mean, personally, the two teams that look really scary are Brambleback and Infernal, and we get to see Brambleback next matchup, so pretty hyped for that.
Yeah, I was
Absolutely.
gonna mirror that sentiment. Brambleback, I think, is one to look out for. Their top lane looks pretty good, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, which top lane are you talking about? Because that's a team of 4 previous top laners from the Rec League. So every lane is top lane to Brambleback. D-Fox, do you have any questions for our interviewees?
Yeah, I want to ask a little bit about the first game. In that top lane matchup, what were you? How much experience do you have? You've probably been playing a lot of Garen, but how much experience do you have against like a Kennen or like a ranged mage or something like that? Like, what did you feel like that matchup was going to be?
Well, initially I was a little bit nervous. Ranged top is just a pain to deal with in lane, and typically that's a pretty strong phase of mine in terms of farming. But I used to play a ton of Nasus, and I got kind of used to just tucking myself away under my tower, farming like that when I can, and just avoid taking damage. So it's a bit of a passive play in the beginning just to get the farm, but then I knew if I could make it out of laning phase, I'd be okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we were saying. That Garen just looks so scary, and they really didn't have a good answer for it in either game. And of course, the second game, most damage on the team, most gold on the team, lowest vision score though. So just a tip for you there. Maybe throw out a few more wards.
Definitely something to watch for sure.
Yeah, that was super well played on the Garen. I wouldn't not at all be surprised that teams just start permabanning Garen and Mundo. So then you'll just have to go to the next one.
Good luck
Hey,
with that.
if I can get all the bans on me, that frees up my team. So
Yeah,
not a bad
exactly.
thing.
Good strat.
Yep.
And a great attitude to have. Well, thank you all again for coming and playing today. Let's get some of the Rec cheers in the chat for both teams, putting it out there on the Rec for our enjoyment and entertainment. And stay tuned because we're, I believe, about to watch the Brambleback versus Gromp game coming up. I am very excited to watch this. So thank you all, and we'll see you again real soon. Don't go away.